Just a few of the big blockbuster video games that have become household names. 59% of Americans are regular players, and last year they spent $22 billion on games. But as gaming goes increasingly mainstream, a darker side of the industry is emerging. America Tonight's Adam May reports on the growing cultural conflict that is Gamergate, and a caution to you, some of the images are quite graphic.
We are having a full-on war, and it's a war that has been put on hold for years.
Brianna Wu is one of the warriors, a female video game designer in a mostly male world. She created Revolution 60, a game with all female protagonists, rare in gaming.
I wanted to tell a story where women were the heroes the same way men get to be heroes in other games.
Once almost entirely the domain of adolescent boys and men, the appeal of games is shifting. Nearly half of all gamers today are women. But most games are still designed by men, and critics like Wu are calling out game designers for the way they portray women.
You have 30 years of this traditional male gamer being told he is the center of the universe. Women, when we exist, are sex symbols. Now that women are gaming, you're seeing all of that start to change. It's making all these people over here very uncomfortable.
But Wu has also become a lightning rod for gamers who see these criticisms as an attack on their identity. She says she was forced to flee her home after receiving death threats from angry gamers.
You were threatened with rape, you were threatened with murder, your husband was threatened to be killed and have his genitals cut off.
Did you see these threats? Like, they said who, what, why, where, and when. They were going to murder me and my husband.
They attacked you personally.
They did. The goal was simple. It was to personally destroy the woman that was critiquing them.
Are you here for the whore?
Are you dating me?
Let her go. No!
Another sharp critic of male-dominated game design is Anita Sarkeesian.
These sexually objectified female bodies are designed to function as environmental texture, while titillating presumed straight male players.
Baby, maybe tonight I'll give you a little taste on the house.
This is the essence of what sexual objectification.
Sarkeesian's YouTube series, accusing game designers of misogyny, unleashed a hate-filled backlash. One person created a game allowing users to virtually punch her in the face. Sarkeesian also canceled a speaking appearance at Utah State after someone threatened the deadliest shooting in American history, railing against what feminist lies and poison have done to the men of America. Much of the vitriol appears on Twitter hashtag Gamergate. Originally created by gamers concerned with fair gaming reviews, it has grown into a loose movement associated with the worst of online harassment of women.
Gamergate is like a net that you're dragging through the ocean, and I think it kind of picks up the worst gamers possible. You're basically creating this really angry anonymous mob, and I think you can't control a mob.
So far, 3 women say they have been forced to leave their homes, targeted by an onslaught of online threats.
Honestly, it's dumbfounding if you're looking at it from the outside, because you sit there and you think, but we're talking about video games and you're threatening to rape and kill her for talking about video games.
Can you hear me?
Deanna Zant studies the role of women in technology. She's part of an online harassment task force that is working with Twitter to reduce the harassment of women on social media.
People can disagree with you, that's okay. They cannot or should not be able to say, I'm going to come rape you and kill you. You know, that's where we start to cross the line a little bit.
She attributes some of the viciousness of Gamergate to the fact that the gamer community feels under attack.
So when we find a community and a culture that we fit into, that we love, that we're passionate about, that makes us feel good, even for really messed up reasons like, you know, beating up prostitutes in Grand Theft Auto, we hold on to that. So if someone comes in and says, hey, part of what you're doing is not okay here, people are going to react in really horrible, culturally sanctioned, frankly, ways.
Nice. Too bad you can follow it, though. Just gotta press up.
America Tonight was given a rare glimpse into the minds of those who consider themselves part of Gamergate, although they say no one here has ever threatened anyone.
Any group of people large enough, there's always going to be like some people that take it too far.
They share a passion for video games.
You guys are way into it here, right? Yeah. What is it about video games? Why are you guys into this?
It's like if I get really stressed out or something, I'll like go play video games. It's sort of like a mellow like bass line you can like return to.
And they downplay the impact of the sex and violence.
Since it is fantasy, it can be catharsis. It is just very relaxing, something that anyone can do, anyone can join.
You can include all of New York City in a video game. You can get lost in that.
Joel Bernabel's New York City apartment is a shrine to his favorite superhero, Giganta. Tonight, he and his friends are lost in the world of Grand Theft Auto 5.
How much money would you say you guys have spent on video games over the last few years? Could you give me a ballpark?
Probably about $4,000 or so every year.
It's thousands of dollars.
Thousands of dollars.
Each game, if you get it when it first comes out, it's $60 usually for AAA.
There is a lot at stake. Video games have grown to a $100 billion industry, overtaking motion picture movie sales. Video gaming press is powerful. A bad review can make or break a game. So when gaming publications printed articles about Gamergate, with titles like Gamers Are Over and It's a Horrible Time to Consider Yourself a Gamer, tensions flared.
I think a lot of people were like pretty offended. It was just like a flat-out assumption that anyone who played video games was misogynistic and, you know, oppressing women.
These gamers say Gamergate's real aim is to keep games free of political correctness, which they fear could lead to censorship.
If you start saying, you know, you can't have this in a game because it offends this group, and you can't have this. I mean, to me, it seems like a slippery slope. Like, where would we stop?
Anita Sarkeesian has come up with a long list of criticisms, specifically that women are over-sexualized in these video games. And then, what is your reaction to what she's had to say?
I watched her videos, and it seemed a little biased to me personally.
When she started to get involved on video games, guess what? Her hits hit the millions. The fact that she's under death threats feeds her popularity even more because she goes to the media and she's like, oh, I'm a victim.
Brianna Wu has also faced these charges.
Some Gamergate supporters have accused you of exaggerating these claims or speaking about them too much because you're trying to drum up publicity for your own game.
Everything I've said is completely accurate. The reason I've talked about this so publicly is someone has to take a stand. This keeps happening over and over and over again. I will answer any question in the world that anyone has about anything. Leadership, dynamics of working in this very male-dominated space.
In an industry where almost 90% of game designers are male, Wu is hoping that by acting as a role model and speaking out against online harassment, she'll provide cover for other female game developers.
The thing that is at stake is women being in game development or not being in game development. And as an industry, we have a choice right now. We can keep our head in the sand, or we can address this issue and kind of make the industry a safe place for women to work.
If you support Gamergate,
right,
does that automatically make you one of the bad guys?
Right now, the outcome of Gamergate is, and I use this word carefully, it's terrorism against women that I think the movement itself is completely unredeemable.
But there's no indication Gamergaters are logging off anytime soon.
I haven't had that many experiences in my life where I felt like I really cared about something and I wanted to like stand up for it. Video games have been under like a lot of heat, and I don't want to see them changed.
Let's get the car, start running people over.
The battle for the future of video games is far from game over. And it's not game over in any stretch of the imagination. This issue of online threats and harassment has now gone to the U.S. Supreme Court. Joey, just a few weeks ago, they heard arguments on another case there, and that could decide the laws regarding this across the nation.
You know, all these things keep happening. I mean, right now, just today, we're looking at a case where the woman who accused men at a frat party at the University of Virginia on the internet. Someone is trying to identify her. This is going exactly to this question of identity and the internet.
Yeah, it's a lot like what we're seeing in Gamergate, and that practice is called doxing, where you're trying to reveal the identity of someone. That, for example, in this case, a person making a rape accusation. Generally, the mainstream media will not identify these people, but you have folks out there on the internet. Some are bloggers, some are what they call internet trolls, and they dig for personal information and they put it out there. You're seeing that at UVA, and you see that in Gamergate as well.
You talk about the hate speech as well. They found that in some of these cases, it isn't necessarily who you think is putting out really nasty messages out there.
Yeah, there was one case where there was an individual that was receiving this, tracked down the individuals, found out that they were teenagers and called their mother. Yes,
called mom.
Called mom. But, this whole situation raises questions about the bigger issue of internet anonymity. On Twitter, people can get online. You can say whatever you want. Profiles don't have to be verified. Who do you know who you're talking to? Who are you listening to? Big questions right now that we may get some resolution depending on how the Supreme Court rules in this most recent case.
America Tonight's